everyone, and welcome back to another Power Packed Mastermind session. I am here with one of our returning speakers, Tamira Hamilton, and she is a sales and marketing strategist, a Pinterest expert, and the creator of Payment Profit Mastery. Now, with over 30 years of experience, including work with Fortune 100 companies, she left corporate life to build a thriving personal brand and online community. So now she helps business owners use digital marketing to create financial freedom. And as I mentioned, she's a returning speaker to our stage because she always brings such amazing value and new, fresh ideas. She's the ultimate trend hacker, you guys will see. And so, of course, we had to have her back for another round. She's going to talk about You Are the Niche, how to post about anything and still get paid, which who doesn't want a little bit of that in business right now?
Yeah, exactly.
Welcome. I'm so excited to have you back on our stage, and we can talk about trends.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to be on stage with you, and I always feel so honored when you ask. I don't take it for granted that I'm invited. So when I am invited, it's definitely a yes, and I'm excited to chat with you again. I mean, it's been several years now.
It's been a little while. I was like, you know what? We need a little bit of Tamira back in the house. So, and I see you all the time on social, and you're always doing such interesting, fun things. And so I knew it was time for us to revisit, because basically we're pulling together. Our panel collectively has made millions and millions of dollars online. And so who better to share, right? Their tips, their tricks, their what's working right now. And I know you're a fantastic person to kind of clue us into what's working right now. So, you know, this is such an interesting topic about, I know social media is like the go-to place to tap into brand new people, fresh audiences, people who are maybe looking for what you offer, could benefit from what you offer. And tons of people, I mean, I'm sure you've heard it 100 times over, just like I have. What should I be posting? Like, especially when you're feeding it every day, every week, every month, like coming up with fresh ideas can be so hard. But I love this topic about how to post about anything and still get paid. So when you say that, like, can you give us some examples of when you say anything? Give us like a range of examples of like truly how you could turn anything into a money-making machine on social, if you're thinking about it, right?
Yeah, I have a client who works with primarily women. A lot of my clients do, and I primarily work with women. And I've seen her take trending topics, because we all know the podcast equipment is way too cheap. Because some of the podcasts just they don't put out really enlightening content as they think they do. And so I've seen her take some of her opinion on some of that content and really reel in her perfect ideal client. And then they go snooping around. They end up on her lead list. They end up watching her lives. They end up actually in her digital products, courses, masterminds, and coaching programs, and seen her really grow her social media presence with this strategy. It's not the only thing that she talks about, but she's taken clips where, you know, like two celebrities are on a podcast and something outrageous is said that's more like rage bait, and she takes it and puts her spin on it. And it's because it's where her ideal client is sitting. It has nothing to do with her business, but it has to do with her ideal client, which makes them feel seen, heard, and acknowledged, and it builds community. And from there, business is just really growing.
You know, I love that example, because so many people, they're so focused on here's what my business is about and here's what I sell. And they struggle to come up with content around that constantly that feels fresh. And you're saying like, no. It doesn't have to be about your business. It doesn't have to have anything to do with what you sell. You don't have to find some weird abstract way to relate the Super Bowl to your business, for example.
Exactly.
Some of it is just showing your audience, I get what's important to you.
Right. That's exactly it. And I think we're back. Social media has evolved, and that's what the piece I think a lot of people are missing is there is a product life cycle. There is an industry life cycle, and social media has hit maturation, and it has to constantly keep bringing in new things, new innovation, new disruptors in order to keep extending that life cycle. And so because it has hit maturation, the looseness of the algorithm that many people were able to really hit their golden stride and their golden age is no more. And so things that you used to be able to do and say and be able to get in front of people just doesn't work anymore. So you have to be a lot more innovative. You have to be a lot more disruptive, quite frankly. And the best way to do that is to understand that you are the brand, you are the niche, and you are the content. And when you understand and embrace those three, it's relatively easy to be able to come up with content. I've made content of me making Easter dinner. I've made content of me, slicing cucumbers, right? At the park with my grandchildren, going on walks and hikes with my grandchildren. So there's so many different ways that you can be who you are and use that to attract your perfect ideal client. Because in today's world, your perfect ideal client is actually looking to do business with someone that they actually like and enjoy being in their space, who they know their values is really important.
Yeah, because I saw this interesting swing. So I want to, for those of you who are watching and being like, wait a minute, this kind of feels like throwback. I want to like, let's go back to when social media was like baby brand new. It was like 2013, 14, 15. You could just post before and after photos and get sales like crazy.
Like crazy.
Nowadays, if you try to do that, like consumers are smart. They see what you're doing and they're like, not even going to look at that. Like they won't even give it the time of day, right? Then it kind of went into this era where it was like, okay, you have to show more of who you are, right? And people were getting really into personal branding. And then I kind of felt like it shifted into this era where it was like, no, you got to be laser focused on here's my niche, here's how I help people. You only post about that because that's why people follow you, and leave out all that personal branding stuff. And now I kind of feel like the pendulum is swinging back.
Absolutely. And it's not just about the maturation of social media and social media marketing. It's also about the marginal utility, to use that Econ 101 from undergrad term. It's also about that marginal utility and law of diminishing returns with your ideal client. We live in an economy and a world where there is a trust deficit, where people just don't have the trust and belief like they used to, especially when it came to things that they saw online. So they want to see more of you and spend more time with you and in community with you before they make that buying decision, because there's a lot, I mean, like a lot of distrust out there.
There really is, like distrust across the board. And I've seen that too, of look how many like big brands people are boycotting in mass. Right, and unfollowing in mass. Same thing with celebrities. People are very much wanting to know that the person or the company they buy from is aligned with their values.
With their values. Absolutely. It's very much a Gen Z thing. But it's not just Gen Z, right? I've always thought that's how it should be. I ain't spending my money somewhere that doesn't value me or my life. I'm just not, unless they're the only absolute option, which, in some areas like rural areas and that may be true for clients and customers. But at the end of the day, it's really about showing up as who you are. You don't have to show everything, but you can have, it's all about your content pillars, which are things that you and I have been talking about for years. What are your content pillars, right? And so part of my content pillars has always been, because it's such a huge part of my life, my family, right? Being a very family oriented person, my grandchildren. Now, I will admit, I actually show less of them than I used to. And that's because of AI and all these scary things that are, that are out there. So, I'm a lot more selective of what I show of them. And like, so quick funny story is, I was on Nana duty yesterday in Cali. She didn't change out of her school uniform. So we're taking pictures. I'm like, go this way so I could, not have to cover up the logo.
Cover that up.
Yeah.
And there's creative ways you can do that. Like, you could show their little fingers in the frame as the coloring without showing their faces.
Exactly.
And it doesn't necessarily, and tell me if you agree with this, because I'm really curious, as we get more into like the pendulum swings one way and the other, kind of settling in this happy medium. As you're sharing more about who you are and what your values are, should you be hitting on like the hot button topics, the political stuff, Or should it just be more about like what's important to you as an individual in your day-to-day life?
I've seen people do both and be able to get away with both.
Okay.
You know, I don't hide my political
Yeah.
ideologies. I'm actually independent. I'm not
Yeah.
really like die hard on a party, but I am die hard on certain
Certain things
topics.
you believe
Certain
in.
things
Yeah.
I absolutely believe in and are non-negotiable. So, but it's not actually not one of my content pillars at all, and it never will be. It just won't
Yeah.
be. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
because it's just
So
not
that's
my
kind of
area
a
of
personal choice
expertise.
if people want to
Yes.
go that far with it, or if they want to stay with the safer, more like day-to-day types of things that make them who they are.
Exactly. But I will tell you that the more rage you can create, the more viral you're going to go, the more you're going to be seen. But we're also in an interesting time in this transition of power that has, occurred, but it's still taking shape, right?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
There are changes to the algorithm, right? I think people are bright enough and they are noticing and seeing those. But I'll give you another example. TikTok being banned or whatever, like that was a huge one. Like if you didn't capitalize on that, I don't know what you were thinking, because it was a very easy low-hanging piece of fruit to be able to take and apply to what you do, and or even not apply what you do. And it actually worked against some people because, they didn't have the years of wisdom and knowledge like we do, where they got on and they told the truth about some things that they'd done that they might not have should have shared. And people didn't forget when TikTok came back. Yeah. And,
I saw that.
Yeah. Especially, like in other countries, like now that the Americans are gone, and it's like, oh, so tell us how you really feel, right? And so for me, one piece that I really hopped on was this whole concept that people thought that Facebook had bought TikTok. And with my financial services background and education and everything, like I did a whole series on why that was not the case. And so now more of my financial expertise is actually being folded into my content because it's needed right now.
Yeah.
So, one of the big things I love to tell people to do, and this is in my freebie as well, and that is to be aware of what is happening in the world around you, and whatever sets your soul on fire, talk about it.
Talk about it. Like, don't be afraid, because the algorithms are getting so smart now that they will specifically put you in front of your people.
Yes.
But you just have to tell them who are your people.
You have to tell them who are your people. Yeah. And every now and then I might go from 5 pillars to like 6 or 7, just to kind of play with and see, because sometimes things like fall out of algorithm. And so you have to bring in another piece. But I know that food content always is going to do well. Food content will always do well.
People love their food. It's coffee. So funny. Sometimes we joke about like, listen, we don't want to see the meal you ate. But sometimes I can tell you tons of the content I consume. I'm like, what did you make there? What's the recipe? Like, tell me. We all got to eat.
If I ate as much steak as I watch steak videos, my cholesterol would be deadly. But I love watching those steak videos.
Last night, I'm like, I'm going to make this like a chef makes a steak.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's dig into this a little bit, because I know, the pendulum swings too far one way, and it's like, just talk about your business. All of your followers will be super targeted then. They'll all be people who are interested in that and only that. But then you're missing out on a huge, like, there's a bunch of people who maybe would be interested in that, but the algorithm isn't serving up your stuff necessarily. And it swings the other way, and it's like, talk about your personal branding. Is there a risk that, like, okay, you're attracting dog lovers and people who love certain types of meals, but how many of those are actually prospective clients or customers for you? Like, are you getting more of a diluted pool when you do it that way?
That's always been a concern of mine. I'll be very honest with you, because even on my skincare focused pages, I've run into that, where I had a video go viral on a smaller Instagram account, and it grew the account from a couple hundred to over 1,000, but it went viral in India. And why it went viral in India, I will never know. I will never know. So, there are things that are just going to happen that are beyond your control. That I think is a very, very rare exception though, right? And so the premise to me is you want to show who you are, and the people that are meant to stay will stay. And it's just like, to go back to like some network marketing jargon here, it's not always about the person in front of you, it's who they can lead you to, right? And so the algorithm will also send your content to the people within their network, especially on Instagram and Facebook. That's one of the things that made TikTok a little different. It's gonna send your content to more of their network, and now that's where hopefully you will be able to grow some of your community. And just to address what, you know, the pendulum swinging, I've always been able to fare well regardless. And it's because I've always had a mix with those content pillars, right? And so you have to know that you should not, even if you are 100% niche down faceless account about credit repair, for example, you should not have a business call to action like buy my product on every single post, right? And so when you keep that in mind, it's, if you are getting started, I actually still suggest starting with a niche. Post 20, 30 videos in the same topic, at least 80 to 90% in that same topic, and then fold in some other things so you can easily start maneuvering. But
like if you're just getting started, 80% niche related, 20% personal branding. Okay.
Yep.
What if you're a little bit more established? Do you recommend a different mix?
If you're a little bit more established, I think you can determine what that mix is for yourself.
Yeah.
And you can, you know, determine what that mix is. For the beginner, I actually would start more on the personal branding side though. 80% personal branding, and then 20%, I would flip
the opposite of what I thought you were saying. That's interesting. Okay. Tell me why.
Because that's going to get you in front of the most amount of people.
Yeah.
And you might start out thinking your niche is one thing and end up going down a different road. And that's okay. Yeah, that's okay.
And that's okay. And then once they start discovering your business related content, it may or may not resonate. Maybe they'll stick around, maybe they don't. But you got such a big bump initially from all the people who are resonating with who you are as a person, that then it's like, don't worry about the numbers, just be who you are and trust that the right people will.
Exactly. And you know, with things like TikTok affiliate and Amazon affiliate, you can still always monetize on the back end or with digital products. Yeah. So let's dig into that area for a little while, because I know like you can have a mix of personal branding and whatever your business offers are. And I know generally in business, you're going to do better if you zero in on one offer that's related to one specific niche, but especially with TikTok Shop, right? Which is different. Or you could be an affiliate on any platform and you could have like Amazon affiliate links, for example. Have you ever dabbled with like layering those in and like what kind of mix that plays in? I do. And you know, because I'm a TikTok Shop affiliate. I'm not a heavy hitter.
I didn't know
or
that.
anything like that. And I fold in, so we got to remember these platforms are multiple platforms in one. And TikTok is TikTok Shop affiliate. It's the short form video and it's live streaming, right? And so I tend to do most of my TikTok Shop affiliate on live stream. And and then...
And does that convert better that way versus
It does. Yeah. For my audience, for my community, I convert better on live video. Yeah.
So you're sharing TikToks that show people who you are as a person. You're getting all these followers, and then when you do a live around something that you're an affiliate for, they're engaging with you, like they're into it.
Yeah. Because we've been told for how long that Gen Z doesn't like to be sold to. It's BS. They absolutely do like to buy.
Yeah. And in fact, I'll admit, I've bought an unhealthy number of things through TikTok Shop.
I'm 51 years old and I tried Frosted Flakes with ice cream in them because of TikTok.
Proof that it works, everyone.
I got grandkids, and here I am. You know, I saw it, and I'm like going to the store, making a special trip to the store to get some vanilla bean ice cream and some Frosted Flakes, because I rarely have cereal, let alone sugar-filled cereal. But I just had to try that because of nostalgia when I was a kid, trying to figure out how to eat the Frosted Flakes without getting them all soggy right away. So I had to try it. It's way too diabetical, in my opinion. You quote Tyler Perry, a Tyler Perry word. It's diabetical. I wouldn't recommend it as a regular thing, but I had to try it that one time.
That is so funny. So, okay, so I love this. So there's a healthy mix of the personal branding, the business specific related content that you're creating. You can layer in affiliate stuff. Now, I have the feeling, just knowing you and knowing your expertise there, that there's probably this really interesting intersection between your personal brand and trending topics, trending audio, what's hitting hot right now. Like, talk to us about that a little bit, because like, the only way a lot of times, at least what I've observed, the people that go viral are because they're grabbing on some sort of trending topic that's hot and they're interjecting their own take on it.
Okay, so this is, I think you're gonna like this. Okay.
Okay.
So when I say when you're starting out, and you can remember, you can start over, brand new right now if you want to.
Every day is a new day.
Every day is a new day. Every minute's a new minute, and it's a gift, right? We were kind of talking about that before we started. So check this out. The reason you're gonna go 80% personal in the beginning is everybody thinks a viral video is just this isolated thing that just happens, and it's not. It's a buildup, okay? And so that's why you want to not only stay on the personal brand side, you want to keep posting almost the same video over and over again, or the same topic, and build. That's why, do you remember last year this time, Risa Tisa and Who the F Did I Marry? It was 50 episodes. It was episodic, it was short, and it built. And that
it was like a bingeable series.
It was a bingeable series.
So take whatever topic is hot and create like a series around it.
Yeah, and not even just a series, just keep honing in on that one thing, because the algorithm is still the algorithm, and it's gonna like to see, okay, this person keeps talking up. It's like creating authority on SEO. Remember that? It's
making the algorithm happy.
Yeah, because you keep feeding it much of the same thing. So it's kind of like a slow burn to build up to that virality. And also, I want to remind everybody that viral is not a strategy. It's not a strategy, okay? The strategy is having your digital marketing infrastructure in place. The strategy is knowing who it is and creating content that is aligned with your ideal client. For me, like, I always, I don't know if you know this, but they said the fifth character in the show Sex and the City was the city of New York, right? That always stuck with me, right? So I've got 4 quote unquote pillars in my TikTok and Instagram profile: marketing mindset, monetization. What am I missing? There's a 4th M. How am I trying to blank on my own 4 M's?
I don't know. It's because we're on camera.
Yeah,
whatever.
Marketing mindset, monetization, and mentoring, right? So the 5th unspoken one is actually menopause.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if that's the phase of life you're in,
it's the phase of life I'm in. Yes, it's the phase of life my ideal client is in, between perimenopause and menopause. So a lot of my TikTok shop affiliate actually falls into that 5th M. So you see how, you can just by being you, because, like when I was heavy in the beauty side, people knew I dropped my makeup brushes, or I'd lose things right in front of me. Like, where did that just go? And it drove some people crazy. And I was like, hey, you ain't got to come back. Thank you for being here. You don't got to come back. And those who were for me, they stayed, and they knew, right? They just knew that was part of it.
And so they probably thought it was funny and endearing. They're like, there she is doing it again.
Yeah. And so now they know I might be on live, and I might just start fanning away, right?
Because it's the unspoken part of your brand.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because if you know, you know.
Exactly.
If you don't, you might just ignore it and not even realize what's happening. But if you know exactly what's happening.
Right. And even if you're not my ideal client, you might know because or your wife or your mom or your sister or someone, you know, you recognize it when you see it.
Yeah. So, okay. So I'm hearing like truly you can post about anything
Mm-hmm.
and it can grow your brand. It's a mashup of your business related topics, your personal brand, and jumping on what's hot, whether it's a hot topic, a hot trending audio, whatever that might be, to basically make the algorithm happy to serve you up more people to then see your business related stuff.
Yeah, and the algorithms, they really don't want to be promoting you for free. None of them do. They don't want to be
They only
promoting
promote
you for
you
free.
in return for watch time, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right?
Yeah.
And so one of the best ways to trick the algorithm is to be the algorithm, which is being the brand, the content, and the niche. And that's how you
Yeah.
trick the algorithm and you become
Yeah.
the
So the
algorithm.
pendulum is swinging back. Personal branding is back in, jumping on trends, even if they're not related to your business.
Yeah.
Jumping trends makes sense
Mm-hmm. It does.
because
if
the market is getting
it
smarter.
ignites you, if it ignites you, chances are it's going to ignite someone else. I mean, I had a video go viral. Remember the year, like, it was Dr. Dre, Eminem, and 50 Cent and all those guys for the Super Bowl. And I did a video reaction and it went viral.
Yeah, like if it's relevant to your audience, it can help your business even if it's not business related.
Right. And it helps
Key takeaway, bam.
it helps the way my brain works, that I can make correlations and see things. And when you truly know your craft, it's a way for you to showcase your skills in a non-pushy way. Like Duolingo, the app that teaches you a different language, they killed off their mascot about a month ago.
Oh.
Yeah, and it went viral on TikTok. It was just after the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And all these brands were in their comments and creating reaction videos. And so the whole thing was, you will bring Duo back, but you guys got to be going in and doing your lessons. And they had like bro marketing. They had the little meter that showed people were doing, and then they announced that the owl faked their death. Not only did the owl fake his death, the whole little team of mascots were in on it and faked their death. So I created...
And you had fun with it.
Yeah. I created a thread, like a 10-part thread, and the 11th slide, the 11th thread, was actually a call to action to a freebie of mine, and it went viral. It was my first really viral... I've had like mildly viral, but this one was a decent, I think it made over 100,000 impressions. And
Wow.
I mean, people were even translating it into other languages, like Portuguese. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so-
just because you hopped on this trend that maybe necessarily didn't have anything to do with your business, but it was relevant to audiences in the moment.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So I think our audience is like, they're on board with this right now. Like the market has matured a little bit. The pendulum has swung a couple ways. Here's where it's at right now. And it's all about jumping on these hot moments, sharing more of your personal brand, jumping on trends when they make sense. And I know you have a gift that can help the audience to jump right in and nail it if they haven't jumped on this yet.
Yeah, it's my trend jacking guide. I can't remember if it's the guide or the checklist, but I'll give you both. Okay. So just whichever one is uploaded, if you want the other one, just comment and we'll get it to you.
Yeah, we have you slated for the ultimate guide, but
Yeah.
if they follow you, I'm sure they could.
So the guide will give you the framework of how to take a trend, any trend, and make it apply to you and make it, worth your while. And as I was saying earlier, understand that viral one isn't a strategy, but it also is relative. If you're going viral within your niche or your industry, you can't compare yourself to someone who's going broad stroke viral. Right? Like that, just to go back to that video that went viral in India, it had like 23 million views, right?
It just wasn't with your audience.
It just wasn't with my audience, right? So I would much rather it go viral with 23,000 or 230,000 views and it be more closely related to what it is that I do. And more importantly than that, because that's going to be even smaller, the larger piece is who is it that I serve.
Yeah. And it's kind of like this sweet spot, this intersection of all these different pieces of content coming together to zero in and hit that perfect person. And sure, maybe you have a bunch of people in your audience that aren't perfect, But even if they're not perfect, they know someone who is, and they could comment on one of your things and tag a friend, and all of a sudden that friend is finding you. Like it's a whole spider webbing thing that happens.
I need to actually create something around that in my whole cobweb strategy.
Oh, I love it. Do it. Take it.
I have a whole cobweb strategy. I started with YouTube years ago, but yeah, that's literally what you do. You create a cobweb.
Oh, I love that. Well, you guys, join us in the mastermind session later. If you have questions, of course, she's going to be here to help you guys out. If you're a free attendee, we're going to be live streaming right into the Facebook group. So just jump on, ask your questions. If you're VIP, you get to be in the Zoom room, and you can meet Tamira in the Zoom room if you want to, because if you know, you know. And so thank you so much for being with us again. I really love checking in with you on all the latest trends and tactics for marketing on social.
And I love being here. I really, really do. So thank you.
Awesome. Okay, you guys, meet us at the mastermind. And until then, bye for now.
Recording
perfect.
stopped.
We were right in that sweet spot.
Oh, good.
I love it. Yay.